Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this guided imagery for menopause series, where today will be the third of 4 webinars that we are hosting this month. In this session, we will be spending time reviewing the variety of emotions that surface during the menopause journey. Then we can take a look at how the power of guided imagery can help ease some of those emotions. My name is Kim Fancher, and I'll be your host today. We here at Positive Health are very honored to be able to bring experts in to share some wonderful information on menopause topics like this one that are important to you. Jane Ehrman, a mind-body medicine and behavioral health specialist, is back with us today to guide us through this topic of menopause and emotions. Hi, Jane. How are you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. I'm glad to be back, Kim.
Awesome. Well, we're very excited to hear what you have to share with us in regards to the emotions that we all feel throughout this stage of life. It can vary in so many different levels and variety of types of emotions that people have.
Well, then let's get started so we can figure out how to deal with all of that.
Awesome.
So, first of all, menopause is the undoing of puberty, the unwinding of all of those changes. And with menopause, there are a lot of unknowns. We other people have gone through it that we know or we've heard things, but we begin to wonder, how long will this last? Will it get worse when we're feeling pretty badly? And will I ever feel normal again? Whatever that might have been. And feeling dismissed or gaslit by healthcare professionals. Oh, what you're going through is just all in your head, or it's not that bad, or just being dismissed. It's painful and upsetting. Feeling judged by family, friends, or coworkers, telling us, just calm down, or what's wrong with you? Those kinds of comments. The feelings of grief and loss that things have changed and changed in ways that we weren't ready for, perhaps, or aren't understanding, um, are also very challenging, as well as changes in the quality of life and our levels of energy, our ability to think clearly sometimes, and the feelings of our emotions just going from 0 to 60 sometimes in a heartbeat. So, there are emotions that literally erode our health. We have emotions that are life giving, energizing, and we have emotions that are energy depleting and affect our health in negative ways. Here they are: fear, anger, guilt, and shame. They impact our mind, body, and our life force energy. They affect the way we approach and express them. We often don't want others to recognize that we're feeling afraid or angry, or that we feel guilty about something. And shame is often so difficult. Shame is what I wouldn't want you to know about me, or what I wouldn't want you to know about what I feel or think. And we have a difficult time with self-compassion about these uncomfortable emotions. And there is a process of healing. There's a process of healing them that we're going to go through today, and give you an opportunity to deal with these uncomfortable emotions, express them, and release them. So, what are some of the feelings that you notice at this point in your life? Certainly, you might feel unmotivated or moody, overwhelmed. Just looking at that list for a few moments and getting a sense of what do you notice that you're experiencing that's particularly uncomfortable. And there may be some emotions that you're feeling that aren't even on this list. So just take a moment and look over that. Uh, Sometimes just reading these emotions triggers some discomfort. And that's something to recognize. So there's emotional fatigue as well. We've been taught growing up to suppress uncomfortable feelings, to not make waves, to please others, to deny what we're feeling and look like we've got it all together and wear that mask of keeping the peace. And it goes all the way back to early childhood. Think about a child having a tantrum. Now, at this point in my life, I can watch a child have a tantrum and think, what a perfectly clear expression of their emotions. That's exactly what they're doing. But the problem is it happens when we're in the grocery store. It happens at some relative's house, or it happens at in a place where you don't want them doing that because, of course, they're pretty loud and a mess. And you're feeling oftentimes judged. So what do we tell little kids? Stop it. And they figure out how to hold that stuff down and in so that they don't get timed out, they don't get yelled at, they don't feel like they've displeased the grown-ups, and they learn to do that really well. And then I look at you when you're 25, 30 and older and say, so how's that working for you now? It's generally not working well when we are stuffed with these uncomfortable emotions because we've been taught not to express them. And what else do you do with them but hold them in? Okay, so these suppressed emotions change the chemistry of our cells, literally. Do you feel drained when this is happening? Do you feel exhausted? Something else? These are things that we're going to discuss today. So where do you feel the energy of the emotions in your body? This is important to recognize. When you're upset, where are you feeling that? And how do you react or respond when you feel this way? Sometimes it is a reaction rather than a response. And oftentimes that reaction isn't optimally what we would have liked to have done. So it's just this is important to be aware of what you're experiencing emotionally and where you're feeling that in your body, because the body-mind is highly integrated. You can't separate one from the other. They're experiencing this all at the same time. So this is how emotions move. We have thoughts and perceptions about something that triggers emotions, and our emotions trigger our behaviors and actions. This is important to understand so that you see the pattern of how we get to our behaviors and actions. When we think, why did I do that? How did I end up doing that? It started with your thoughts and perceptions. So here's an unhealthy cycle of stress. It starts with stressors, things that set you off, people, places, and things that set off an emotional experience where you have physical symptoms, and the physical symptoms come immediately. You start to shallow breathe or hold your breath. You might clench your teeth, your heart's racing, your blood pressure goes up, muscles get tight, sweaty palms, sometimes a knot in the stomach. And then you get into the story of the emotions, negative thinking, feeling rebellious. Why does this always happen? And every time so-and-so says this and that, and we start to really ramp up the emotions, the feelings in our body as we go through the whole story of what's happening to us. And then how do we recover? Those are the behavioral attempts at self-soothing. Food cravings, the food industry knows that the human body craves sugar, fat, and salt. Shopping, retail therapy, get online and buy some stuff, or diving into the work, or gambling, substances of all kinds, watching TV, getting on the computer. Exercise is good, but when it's used as an escape and you're not really relieving the uncomfortable feelings, but you're kind of soaked in them as you're exercising is a problem. It can, certainly for some people, they pull the covers over their head and they just go to sleep. They just go to bed. For others, sex. Sometimes these things happen in excess. So it's important for you to recognize what's happening. How are you dealing with stress in unhealthy ways when we go through this? And frankly, we go through this in a matter of moments. So this is a video that shows what happens in our body when in our mind we begin thinking of something upsetting. Okay, so here's what happens. In the mind, in the amygdala, the smoke alarm in your head, you're upset about something. It sends a message to your adrenal glands that are on top of the kidneys to express the cortisol, the stress hormone, into your bloodstream. That cortisol goes through your bloodstream and then it's absorbed out of the bloodstream into the fat cells on your abdomen. And that cortisol soaks into the fat cells on your abdomen and swells them. Those fat cells get bigger and bigger to the point that they often break through muscle fiber walls. And it would be like taking a cross section of a piece of marbled steak. So we end up with greater abdominal fat. And that's something that many people have recognized since COVID. They have, since the pandemic, they have been more stressed and they have greater belly fat. So this is how that occurs. So it's important to recognize our feelings are neither right or wrong. We've been taught in different cultures that it's wrong to be angry. It's wrong to be upset. All those kinds of things. And that's not true. All feelings are normal. They aren't right or wrong, and they need to be expressed in healthy ways. And oftentimes we aren't expressing them in a very healthy way. So let's look at these four uncomfortable, health eroding emotions. Fear. Fear creates pain. Physical pain, emotional pain, spiritual pain. Spiritual pain meaning we feel heavy-hearted, burdened, a sense of heaviness in our whole being. There's a tendency to withdraw socially, to get into ourselves and isolate ourselves. That feeling oftentimes that we should be able to handle these things ourselves. We don't want others to know we're struggling with this. It can certainly delay or stop our taking action. We don't want to find out any more about this. We're afraid we're going to have to do some things we don't want to do. And fear and shame often go hand in hand. The impact it has to health, oftentimes when we're experiencing this, there's insomnia. We have difficult time sleeping, recurrent headaches, irritability, anxiety and panic attacks, hypertension, irritable bowel, chronic stress. Just look at that. So with anger, it's an appropriate initial response, but there is the tendency to suppress anger. That can be crippling physically, emotionally, and spiritually. We begin with judgments, feelings of self-righteousness. I deserve, I know it's fine for me to be angry. I deserve to be angry because of what happened here, there, with so-and-so. But it causes us to be alienated from others. And then also be alienated from ourselves because we turn that anger inward. When you're angry with someone else, they don't feel it, you do. You feel that energy in your body. And that's important to understand. You may have good reason to be angry, but what are you going to do with it? Because when you keep stewing in it, that's a problem for us physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So anger is holding judgment on yourself and others. Sometimes we're angry with ourselves for some things, and we just stay steeped in it. Here's what happens in the body. Over time, We develop chronic stress, hypertension, high blood pressure, gastrointestinal disorders, irritable bowel. You have trouble with pain, with elimination, constipation, heart disease, chronic inflammation, recurrent headaches, insomnia, and unhealthy behaviors looking to self-soothe with substances, and then using those substances to the point of abuse. In the mind, those recurrent negative thoughts, the mind is wired to look for negativity as part of survival. If you didn't look at what might go wrong, you might get hurt or die, right? But this is taking it into overdrive, recurrent negative thoughts, and that reactivates that inner critic, creates more irritability, a sense of depression, because when you hold in anger, that creates depression to a good degree. People get moody and they're feeling anxious. That sense of isolation and withdrawal from others into the self, and racing thoughts. And our spirit, again, there's a sense of separation. We feel like we're all alone in this, isolated, unconnected to others, unconnected to ourselves, not even paying attention to what's going on inside us anymore. Heavy-hearted and burdened. So guilt. It can be beneficial if it motivates you to improve. If you've done something that was a mistake, then guilt can help you rectify that and improve so that you don't do it again. But guilt is also a judgment of ourself or on others that you hold on to and go over. I mean, how many times might you have noticed that in the middle of the night when you wake up, or when you're up in your head, you start thinking about things from 10 years ago that you feel guilty about? Some little comment you made, or something that you did or didn't do, or a way you felt, and you're reliving it again. It was way back there. But the mind has a way of wanting to bring it up. People of every culture, however primitive all the way to advanced cultures, believe that illness and a negative circumstance, something bad happening, is punishment for their wrongdoing. Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's the human condition. I must have done something to cause this. People who get seriously ill. I've had people say, did I cause my own cancer? You know, what a terrible, terrible feeling to believe these kinds of things. And then shame. It's the fear of being unlovable, rejected, excluded, and judged. And my guess is all of us have felt this one time or another. Shame is something I wouldn't want you to know about me. Something that you've done or said, or those kinds of things. And it's intense. It's very painful. It's a painful feeling. Or the experience of believing that we're flawed and therefore we're not worthy of love or acceptance or belonging. Shame is part of everything. Women have been shamed for centuries about appearance, body image, family, parenting. You read the parenting books from the past 100 years and something goes wrong with the child. Must have been the parents. What did we do wrong? Shame about money and work, health. I wouldn't want somebody to know I have this serious illness, you know. Addiction, sex, aging, and religion. All of these things oftentimes come into play as women move through this change in their life. Because again, it's something different. And it's going to be judged and measured in many cultures. This is challenging. Oh, by the way, it was Brene Brown who said shame is part of everything. So why continue with guilt, anger, blame, shame. There's a sense of control. It feels good to hold on to anger. If you think about it, when you are angry, that's high energy. You don't feel sleepy when you're feeling angry. You know, you've got energy. The question is, what kind of energy do you have? And it may be right that you are angry about something, that you were wronged, but how far do you hold on to that? And it becomes, for many, often a pattern that feels good and it feeds off itself, but that's toxic energy. It's what you believe you deserve to feel. It might be what was modeled growing up. So if when you were growing up, the adults around you held anger, showed anger a lot, we learn oftentimes by what was modeled to us. Adults who have grudges, criticism, lots of criticizing others, blaming people, shaming people. So this is all part of it. So here we are. So what can you do about all these feelings? Because they're definitely there. All right, notice where you feel them. Notice where you feel the energy in your body. Take a moment, and we're going to do this actually in the guided meditation a little while. You bring up something for which you've been upset, angry, afraid, guilty, whatever it might be. It's an uncomfortable feeling. Where do you feel it? And what does it feel like? Is it tight? Is it heavy? Is there a churning? Is there pain? Notice if you tend to have recurrent headaches or body aches after an upsetting situation in an important relationship. There's good research about that now, that after people in an important relationship have a bad argument, that they don't feel well the next day, that it literally changes how they feel physically, emotionally, mentally. Deep fatigue, gastrointestinal distress. You might notice some other symptoms. So it's about avoid being stuck in these negative emotions. When you recognize what you're feeling, name it, acknowledge that, and then move through it and let it go. Let it go, clear it out. And that's an area that for many people, it's become a real challenge. Like, how do I do that? How do I let it out? Here's some effective ways to release emotions. Cry. Seriously. Tears are healing. It's a form of release. You may find that the headache goes away or your sinuses actually feel better. So crying is one way. To journal, to write down, hot pen method. Let go of grammar and spelling and all that. Use whatever language you want. You want to cuss in there and swear? Do it. Write down just how you're feeling in great detail. Avoid trying to correct it. Just get it out. I strongly recommend if you decide you want to journal, use a spiral notebook. Nothing that screams read me. Okay, nothing that says this is my journal. Something, and you may want to just write it and then shred it or burn it and get it out. But it is a great way to express what you're feeling. It's hard to be uptight after good exercise where you are releasing. Swim, dance, walk, run, kickboxing. It's a great way to get the energy out. I often do a controlled adult tantrum. I got a wiffle bat at the dollar store, gave the ball to a dog, and get an old pillow or cushion that you don't care about and beat the living daylights out of that cushion or pillow with your bat. I recommend putting on some music that ramps it up for you. If you have other people in your living space, let them know you're just going to be doing some exercise here and it's going to be a lot of noise. Close your windows if you need to, turn up the music. It isn't about imagining somebody's face on that pillow. It's nothing like that. It's about feeling that uncomfortable energy in your body and letting it out by hitting down on that cushion or pillow, and you can yell, add whatever you want to it, but it is a great release. Watch a movie that triggers emotional release, that helps you get the energy out and cry or laugh, okay? Breathing. If you're in a place where you're with others and you can't quite do any of these other things, breathe. It's the first thing to go when we're stressed, but it's the first thing to go to help you release. Imagine you're gathering up that uncomfortable energy as you breathe in, and then part your lips subtly and let it go. I've done that in some board meetings where I really knew it was a good idea not to just say what I was thinking and feeling at the moment, but I could do that. To keep my hands under the table, take a nice breath in, gather it, tighten up my hands into fists under the table, and as I exhaled, I can let stuff go with my hands too. Doing several breaths that way to just pause and breathe. For one thing, you're getting more oxygen to your brain so that you can respond better. And you're also exhaling and releasing the tension that's going on in your body. And we're going to learn this later, to use your container to actually, in your imagination, create a good-sized, sturdy container with a tight-fitting lid. And we'll do some work with that where you imagine taking off the lid and dumping things into your container emotionally, the energy in your body, and getting rid of it. Repressed emotions change the chemistry of your cells. And over time, these repressed emotions contribute to developing chronic conditions and illnesses. We know that now. And so it's in your best interest to create ways for yourself that effectively help you release this uncomfortable energy that's been inside. Again, here's the impact to your body when you hold on time and time again to uncomfortable emotions, that energy, chronic stress, chronic inflammation. Every time you are focused on the stressful, the angry, upsetting experience, your amygdala is sending that message to your adrenal glands to dump more cortisol into your bloodstream. That's inflammatory, okay? That's your body saying, we're ready to run like crazy, fight like heck, or freeze because you're in a threatening situation, except you're not out in the woods with some wild boar chasing you. You're at the kitchen table across from somebody that you're upset with right now. And these same emotions that we've had for thousands of years haven't changed the way the body processes them. Chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, recurrent headaches and body aches and pain, gastrointestinal disorders, frequent colds and flu. We've known for years that when you have a very stressful event, you have almost a 90% chance of coming down with a cold or flu or some kind of infection like that if you've come in contact with it within a few hours of that stressful experience. Your immune system drops up to 30% in a high stress situation. There's a tendency for substance dependency, to take just a little bit of this to help me calm down, just a couple of glasses of wine, or gonna have a cigarette, or I'm gonna take this to help me fall asleep at night, and now I need to take more of it, and it gets out of control. Immune system imbalances. When your immune system again and again is taxed because of the stress, you end up with a suppressed immune system that can't fight harmful organisms as well because they aren't in the right numbers. All this then contributes to heart disease and stroke, cancer, autoimmune diseases, and metabolic syndrome. So what happens in our mind when we're in these high, uncomfortable, energy-draining emotional states? We don't focus and concentrate very well. We are less productive. We have poor memory recall. we start to doubt ourselves. So when we doubt ourselves, we're afraid that we can't do what we think we have to do or we know we have to do. And so that messes with productivity, but that also limits us. Fear limits us. Sleep disturbance, waking up in the middle of the night, wide awake. And then you start thinking about all kinds of things. Again, going way back in time about some stuff, fussed about things that are going on in your life. And that only keeps you wide awake. Recurrent negative thoughts. Sometimes we have thoughts that keep coming up. And what we think, we begin to believe. It's important to understand we have all kinds of thoughts. Just because we think it doesn't mean it's true. It's important to really reflect on, wait, what am I thinking here? And is that helpful? And then deciding to change that. Resentments, depression, all of this is what happens in the mind when we have these depleting emotions and the energy of them stuck inside us. What does it do to our life force energy? That sense of feeling burdened and heavy-hearted. And we feel separated from ourselves. We're not even connected with what's going on with ourselves or recognizing what's going on with others. And for those for whom faith is part of their life journey, we feel separated from the higher power. Feeling adrift, kind of stuck, unsure, loss of our life purpose. What am I doing here? What do I do now? Life has changed. It's different. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Or finding meaning in our life. And when all of that is happening, it reduces our understanding of our self-knowledge and personal development. We're less aware of our gifts. Now, I've done seminars where I've invited people with a pen and paper, write down all of your qualities. What are your gifts? You know, good sense of humor, love kids, love working with people, you know, and then they get stuck. And then I say, okay, now write down what are your drawbacks. What are the things that aren't so good about yourself, that aren't good qualities? And wow, they have a list 3 times the amount of what was in their gifts column, because we get used to looking at what isn't going well for us, what we're not good at. So as we get ready to do some guided meditation today, it's important for you to recognize where you're experiencing the discomfort of the energy in your body, the front of your body, the back of your body, how some sensations will be all over. Sometimes when we feel angry, it isn't just in our gut or our chest. Our whole body starts to tingle and vibrate to us, or fear does that. So it's important to know this. And this is something that takes some practice, because for many people, they say, I don't feel anything, because they've cut it off. They don't want to know what they're feeling in their body. And that may be because of early life experiences where that was a way they protected themselves. But at this point, it's unhelpful. And if this is a serious issue for you, I encourage you to get some help with a professional to help you reconnect and notice what you're feeling so that you can begin to address those things. So when we talked, and I spoke earlier about one of the effective ways to release uncomfortable emotions is to put them in a container. Today, in your imagery, I'll invite you to create a container in your imagination. And in it, you're going to put what you choose to put, as much as you choose to put. You're in charge there. The uncomfortable energy from where you feel it. Is it an ache in your head, some tension, headaches? Or is there a tension in your jaw or your throat, tight neck and shoulders, a heaviness in your chest, an upset feeling in your stomach, nausea, knots, clenching, a tense gut? Do you feel it in your lower back or in your legs or your hands, or all over? And one of the ways to release this uncomfortableness is to gather it with your breath and breathe it into your container. Breathe it in, blow it in hard. You can also imagine, if you imagine it feels like a boulder in your chest, that you lift that out and throw it into your container. And I'll explain more about how that container works for you. You may imagine it like a dumpster, but the inside of that container is limitless in what it can hold. It can hold the whole universe if it needed to. So you're putting things into your container from the sensations that you experience in your body. The important thing to do after you release, when you release the uncomfortable energy into your container, those areas of your body where you did the release start to feel better. They feel lighter, more spacious, more comfortable. But you don't just stop there, because you never want to leave a void. You want to fill those cleared spaces with positive energy, positive qualities, wisdom from that uncomfortable experience that you've been holding on to, your truth that maybe you weren't able to say in those moments, but you can speak your truth now and put that in those cleared spaces. So you want to fill that. And it's like imagining you want to fill yourself with compassion for yourself because you've been angry with yourself about something. The truth is, none of us were born with the handbook. This experience in life, these are lessons for us. It isn't about being good or bad. It's about what can we learn for ourselves? And can we forgive ourselves? Can we forgive others? Can we bring in peace and calm? And you might imagine that as light or as softness or a color or some images, whatever works for you. This is what you fill yourself with to the brim. Empathy for yourself is important. Oftentimes, it's easier to have empathy for someone else when they're going through a difficult time, but we think somehow we should have had our act together. And that's just unhelpful. Can you give to yourself what you choose to give to others in compassion and understanding and forgiveness and kindness? And so these are some of the feelings, some of the emotions and qualities to give yourself and others. Okay? HeartMath is an amazing institute of research about how our heart is the center of our emotions and actually even our thoughts that then go up from our heart through the vagal nerve to the brain. Negative emotions can create a nervous system kind of chaos. Positive emotions do just the opposite. I'm not saying don't pay attention to those negative emotions, for too often people have stuffed them down because I've got to be positive. This is about letting them go, letting that negativity go so that you can now fill yourself with that positivity. The human heart's magnetic field can be measured 4.5 feet in diameter. What does that mean? That means when you walk into a room with others, you feel the energy right away. How often have you walked into a room and thought, whoa, what's going on in here? Because it didn't feel quite right. Or when you're with some people, you feel energized and connected and you just love being with them. And other people, just being in their presence, you can't wait for it to be over because it's uncomfortable. So it's about recognizing how we feel other people's energy, but it's also about recognizing when somebody else's energy is negative, toxic, that we keep it out of our field, that we keep their energy out. We can appreciate what they're going through. We can have compassion for them, but it's unnecessary to take that energy into our being. That's unhelpful. That's draining. Okay. Most of us didn't know about that. So I encourage you to just notice what other people's energy is, or when you're going into a situation that has the potential for being pretty challenging and stressful, that you be in your energy field and decide what kind of energy you want to give off, because others are going to feel it. And you can decide to appreciate other people's energy, but it's unnecessary to take it in. In fetal development, the heart forms and is beating before the brain even begins to develop. Everything really does start in the heart. It's important to understand that. And positive emotions can increase your brain's ability to make good decisions. One of the ways to check that for yourself is focus on your chest, your heart, and imagine you're breathing from your chest. You're breathing in and you're breathing out from your chest, from your heart. Just imagine your chest expanding as you're breathing in, focusing on your heart, exhaling, focusing on your heart, and that energy radiating. Breathing that way, even for 30 seconds, helps the brain function better. There's plenty of research around this. It's called heart rate variability, and increasing the coherence when you're breathing from your heart so that your brain is actually more coherent. Positive emotions create many physiological benefits in the body. Your body systems function better. Your immune system, that's always taking its cues from you, functions more balanced when you are living from positive emotions. You think better. Your blood flow is better. Your heart rate is more normal. Your blood pressure is within normal range. Your body is able to digest foods and absorb nutrients better. All kinds of things work better when you're living from positive emotions. And you can boost your immune system by focusing on those positive emotions. All right, in the next slide, we're actually going to do guided imagery. So get yourself set and get ready to enjoy a guided meditation to help you connect with and clear away the energy draining emotions that may be stuck in you, and to fill yourself with good energy.
Sit or lie down in a comfortable position with your feet and legs uncrossed. Gently close your eyes or lower and soften your gaze. Set your intentions for the session. Privately, you can tell yourself, my intention today is to take the path within myself to a special healing place in my inner world. A place perhaps in nature where I feel peaceful and calm. There, I create a container for myself to release my feelings and energy related to negative experiences that are uncomfortable and no longer serve me. In this session, I welcome insight and information that supports my wellness and personal development. Now, you're invited to bring your attention to your breath. breathing normally, comfortably, in and out of your nose. Your body has its own rhythm of breathing. Simply let each breath come and go naturally, purposefully moving from breath to breath and getting more settled and comfortable. The mind naturally wanders. Anytime you notice your mind wandering, simply refocus to your breath without judgment. As you continue to breathe comfortably, imagine stepping onto your path that leads to your special healing place. It's a gentle sloping path, smooth and easy to navigate. As you move along the path, at your own pace, you move closer to the quiet stillness within. Let the feel and sense of your physical surroundings in your outer world fade off into the distance for a little while as you move to the quiet stillness, more and more settled as you go. As you travel along the path, up ahead there is an open gate. On the other side is your special healing place. As you reach the gate, take a cleansing breath, and then go through the gate to your special healing place. When you get there, notice your surroundings. Where are you? It may be a place you know and have been to, or it may be a new place. Take in your surroundings with your senses, what you see, sense, and feel, and the scenery around you. Notice the time of day and what the temperature there feels like. You may be aware of different sounds of nature and how the air here smells and feels. Perhaps there is a freshness or fragrance in the air. If you haven't already, choose a place here to stretch out and just be. Be here as fully as you wish, taking it all in. Notice how you feel being here. Perhaps comfortable or peaceful and calm. Just notice. Being in this positive energy is healing to your body, mind, and spirit. It contributes to your wellness. This is your special healing place, a place just for you to tap into peace and calm, a place to relax deeply, a place to feel more comfortable and to restore your energy. When you focus on uncomfortable, unsettling, and painful experiences, you notice feeling that kind of energy in your body. These uncomfortable feelings are normal, and it's important to name them, acknowledge them, and then to let them go. There is a helpful, effective way to let them go. You're invited to imagine and create a container, a good-sized, sturdy container with a tight-fitting lid. Imagine a dumpster, trash can, or some other type of container. Create yours now in as much detail as you like. Your container is special and has several helpful qualities. Regardless of its size, on the inside it is limitless in what it can hold. And it's like a composter. What you put in it over time is transformed into something positive. You never put people in your container. This container is for the negative energy you feel from a person or a situation, how you felt about yourself then that was unhelpful. Put in your container their words that may have been painful, negative, unhelpful, untrue. Put in how they sounded, how people looked, everything you took in with your senses that you want to let go of, along with the feelings. Now, you're invited to bring to mind a person or a situation that you've been upset about. Nothing great big to start, but bring something up. Once you have it, relive the situation so that you can feel that energy in your body again. Feeling that energy strongly means it's still there. Breathe into it, make it good and strong. And notice all the places where you're feeling that energy inside your body. What sensations are you feeling in your body? Notice. There may be tension and tightness, or heaviness, a tingling, a churning. Maybe some places feel a little twisted or knotted. There may be sensations that you feel all over your body or in specific places. It may feel like rocks or sludge or knots. Just notice. Now, take the lid off your container and put that stuff in your container in whatever ways you choose. You can breathe it into the container or pull it out and throw it in the container. You can stand on the edges and let it roll off of you or drip out of you. You choose. It's your imagination. Do what feels good to you. Let go of as much as you choose. It's up to you. As you clear out what needs to go, notice the cleared areas begin to feel lighter, more comfortable, more open. That's how you know you've released the energy. Take a few more moments to clear out anything you want to release. Now, close the lid to your container, and you can tell yourself, I cleared out what needed to go, and in its own time and own way, my container will transform it. Now, you're invited to fill the cleared spaces with positive, life-giving energy. What qualities do you want to fill yourself with? You can fill yourself with as many qualities as you choose, like peace and calm, joy, happiness, comfort, confidence, kindness, compassion, love. And however you imagine these qualities, maybe as light or colors, warmth or a cool breeze, whatever you choose, go ahead and take in the wonderful qualities and the different ways you imagine them to be. Imagine this positive energy and goodness filling all those cleared spaces. And then send that wonderful goodness into all of your body, soaking it into all of you, your body, mind, and allowing it to lift your spirits too. Now go ahead and rest in this wonderful energy. And as you continue to rest in this energy, you're invited to add wisdom and insights that are positive and helpful. Your container is always available to you, just off to the side in your imagination, for you to use whenever you need it. Consider it a recycling tool to use regularly and release what no longer serves you, and then fill yourself with positive healing energy. You're invited to ask yourself, what messages and gifts did I receive in my inner work today? And you can ask yourself, how How can my special healing place and my container help me when I feel uncomfortable emotions, whether they're related to the menopause or daily living? You're invited to take a moment and decide when and how often you will come back here on your own for your self-care. This place is always available to you, like a screensaver at the back of your mind, just a thought and breath away, a place for you to come to for release, comfort, healing, and to renew your energy. Before heading back to the gate, you're invited to privately thank this place for its gifts to you today. And as you journey back through the gate to your path, bring with you insights and information from your inner work today, and all the wonderful positive energy you filled yourself with. And as you walk on the path back to your outer world, become wider awake, refreshed, slowly wiggling and stretching fingers and toes, becoming clear-headed. Gently open your eyes and notice how you feel now compared to before doing the imagery. What can you share?
So meditation practice provides improving your attention and focus, helps you develop your ability to concentrate better and have a greater threshold for stress, which means it takes more kinds of situations to you avoid stress more easily. You stay able to manage what's happening for yourself. Quicker recovery from negative mood states and more contemplative thinking promotes your creativity and improves decision making. So with that, I thank you. Not sure why we keep, going back. Thank you for participating in the session today.
Well, thank you, Jane, for this great presentation and practice. You provided, some really great tips on helping us manage some of those negative emotions that may surface from time to time. And I truly believe, positivity is so important in our lives. And I love that we can use tools like this to keep that up.
Great.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up here. You've provided some really wonderful information, so we'll go right into some upcoming webinars that we have. We hope that y'all can join us for other webinars in the future where, Positive Health, we're leveraging the power of webinars and podcasts to build awareness on many important menopause-related topics. So coming up, we have one more session with Jane next week, July 30th. That'll be our last session of this 4-part series. So thank you, Jane, for everything you've done so far, and looking forward to one more round next week. And then on July 31st, we have Skylar Grissel coming back with her mindfulness information and focusing on Yoga Nidra meditation. And then in August, our topic is going to be herbal medicine. So please sign up August 21st for that particular topic. And you can find all these at our positivehealth.com/webinar site where you can enroll in all of these sessions. And then our podcast that we released here in July can be found at positivehealth.com/podcast site, and you'll find all of our podcast series there. And then we also have a menopause journey community we would love for you to be a part of if you're not already engaged in that. And if you'd like to get some information on this, please send an email to info@positivehealth.com or go to our positivehealth.com site and you'll find some information about the menopause journey community. And I'd like to also invite you to join our Positive Health program. And you can go out to the positivehealth.com site and look for that join button and get involved in this holistic one-stop digital health experience where we're supporting the body and mind and spirit during the menopause journey. And right now it is free until December 31st. Okay. Well, Jane, again, thank you very, very much. Wonderful information. There's so much to cover there, and I'm sure there's a lot more that you can even talk about even further.
Yes. It was good to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
And you as well.